I'm
Alan.
Nice to meet you guys.
I'm Karen. We're getting down. Start on your journey. I couldn't even walk to the border.
So that was awesome. I just got a ride from Alan and Karen, who are driving around. And they dropped me off right here at U.S. Customs at the Canadian border. Basically, yeah, I'm here at the U.S.-Canada border right now with this obelisk. Boom. Touching the tip, marking that I'm right here on the border. This is the U.S. side. You can see it says U.S. right there. U.S. And this is the beginning of a journey. I'm not sure where it will end. I hope I don't get injured along the way and have to drop out. But the goal is to hike across the United States 3 times in total, from Maine eventually to Alabama and the Gulf of Mexico via the Appalachian Trail. And then the second traverse will be from the Mexican border of California up to Washington to Canada on the Pacific Crest Trail. And then the third traverse will be from Montana down to New Mexico on the Continental Divide Trail. And so I'm going to try and do this all within 1 calendar year. And that would make it a calendar year Triple Crown. I'm going to try and do it all contiguously, so in one continuous route. And kind of the linchpin of all that will be, I think, completing the Appalachian Trail. And I'm also maybe upping the difficulty a notch by attempting to do it southbound. There's a pretty good chance that I won't succeed with that, and I might have to flip-flop, but I'm hoping for the best. And yeah, every journey starts with 1 step. So let this be that step. And yeah, wish me luck. So I'm leaving the border, just touched it. And I've got Border Patrol driving, following me on my way out. But they didn't give me too much trouble. Really any trouble, they were super nice. Got a hole. So this is where I camped last night. And by last night, I mean really this morning. Kind of the nice part of it is I got this giant hill over here, which is to the south, which is where the wind is supposed to be coming from. The allegedly 60-mile-per-hour winds may be coming today. But nothing so far. But that was supposed to be a wind block. And I'm just kind of down here in this meadow. Pretty. Okay, start of... Actually, that math is hard. Today is actually still day 1 because I touched that monument at 2 a.m. So, yeah, it's still today. All right. Woo! Now we're cruising. Just gotta not get hit by a car. Okay, day 1 update at 6 p.m. I've been walking down the same highway all day. I think I'm somewhere around 16 to 20 miles in. It's been a really beautiful hike, although the weather's been challenging. The downsides with the weather are that it's been snowing kind of all day, and then maybe 3 hours ago it switched to freezing rain, so I'm kind of coated in a layer of ice now. And then maybe an hour ago it switched from freezing rain to just rain, which then freezes on you, which is worse. So anyway, I have my umbrella out for that. And but yeah, I mean, otherwise everything's going pretty well. I have all the right gear, which feels good to take care of stuff. Yeah, one of the really cool parts of this hike so far, which I had no idea about, is that I'm more or less in Amish country. So it seems like a third of the people out here are Amish, and so sharing the road with me tonight has been multiple horse carriages and a snow plow, which the plow was motorized, but the engine pulling it was a pair of Clydesdale horses, which is really cool. I have 60 miles to make from the border to the entrance to Baxter State Park, and I'm trying to make that in 2 days, which is why I've been going so late. But I feel like there's still a chance I can make it at this point, so we'll keep pushing. And that's kind of all I got. I wonder... No, that's a real plow. I was going to show you the Amish plow. But you can see the real cloud come by, which I'm thankful for. And then I realized around midnight last night, I'm not going to make it to Baxter State Park in time for my permit if I continue this, like, the direction that I'm going. So I decided last night I'll keep going down this road that I'm on right now for another 6 miles, and then I'm going to connect with another road that goes south. I'm going to try and hitchhike my way to Baxter State Park, entering from the south. But I think that's going to take me maybe an entire day, but that'll enable me to still use my current permits to get up, or attempt to get up Katahdin to start the Appalachian Trail. So this is the only time in my life before where high school mascots have actually been relevant information. So that's kind of like one of the biggest challenges of this entire year is the first mile of the Appalachian Trail. For me, Mount Katahdin. I think it's the tallest mountain of the entire trail. If not, it's one of the 2 or 3. And it's both from a climbing perspective, or hiking perspective, a very hard mountain to get up, but also from a technical permitting perspective in the winter, you don't get to just go there and like hang out forever. You got to schedule every day you're going to be there. And so, in my mind, for a perfectly contiguous route, you have to do every mile. And I think if I hit like a forest fire, and literally they say you can't go this way, I'll walk an alternate route that's equivalent. And to me, that counts. I think that's fair. But I don't know. I feel like for some reason this permit with Katahdin, the permit's there. It's doable. And you just got to do it. And if I don't get it, I'm not going to consider this a contiguous county or triple crown, which that'll be difficult from the first mile. And almost like poetic to fail on the first mile of a 7-something thousand mile hike. That's the whole goal. I can make it 6,999 more miles, but fail the first mile because of this permit situation. But anyway, yeah, I just got to find some way to quickly get to the park to meet my permit dates and see if I can make it to the top, which is the second question there. Can I even make it there in time? And then once I'm there, can I even make it to the top? So that's my first view of what I'm pretty sure is Mount Katahdin. And Baxter Peak should be the one somewhere on the left where the clouds are kind of obscuring the peak. But tonight I'll be camping at the base of it, and tomorrow morning at the crack of dawn I'll be trying to go up it. Just got real. Although it doesn't count yet because I'm going the wrong direction north. These are my very first steps ever on the Appalachian Trail. That's a pretty serious blowdown. Not really any good way through. So I've been walking through like, I don't know, it's probably 1.5 or 2 feet of snow for 5 miles. This is like the hardest hiking I've ever done, I think. It's just hard in such a different way, and it's just the trail, it's not easy to follow the trail because you can't see a trail. The only indication of the trail is, you know, the trees are wider than normal, but you'll hit points where like there's other trees that consistently look wider for 20 feet, and you get off trail and you realize it and you backtrack and you check and you keep pushing. If I sound demoralized, it's because I am. Just the truth. Yeah, it's just, this is very, very hard. Yeah, I think I'm just a mile away from Katahdin streams. Well, at least the first campground. And then Katahdin streams is maybe another half a mile. So I think I'm just a mile and a half away now. So I'll check back in once I get there. But just wanted you to kind of like see, like, and I didn't even pick this because it looks particularly bad. I just was like tired. I was like, oh, let me just film this before I finish the hike at night, just to give you a sense of what I've been going through. This has just been nuts. So a quick update from me in the future now. So from that last video, for the next 48 hours of hiking, on my camera that I brought, I accidentally recorded everything in ultra slow motion with no audio. So I'm just using this video to kind of stitch together the videos that follow. But towards the end of that walk up that mountain, I knew that I was okay, but it was kind of like a walk for survival, moving very slowly. But basically, I made it, I would say, like halfway up Katahdin in the middle of January, which is an accomplishment. I reached Katahdin Stream's campground at like 2 a.m. And then I finished building my camp at the Birch's Lean-To, which is like maybe half a mile back down the mountain. I finished building camp, eating dinner, and went to bed at 4:30 a.m. and was just completely depleted. That was shocking and the hardest hike I've ever done in my life. And so as I went to bed that night, I was listening to the winds just howling and ripping through the trees above me. And I knew that the forecast for the summit was somewhere around like negative 35 degrees Fahrenheit. But, you know, consider there's always a margin of error where it could be up or down 10, 20 degrees very easily. Well, I'm literally catching the sunrise in the background as I'm filming this. Look at that, unbelievable. That literally just happened on film. That was so cool. Anyway, back to the dark, scary night. You're all alone up there on that mountain, and I could hear those winds ripping above me, and I'm just telling you, it was the sound of potential death. Anyway, so I'm listening to the howling wind above me, and know the temperatures, the margin of error there, and to make it up to the tree line, I knew that I could do that. But I just knew deep down, going from the tree line to the summit, I'm not in good enough physical condition to make it, to know that I could make it to the top and back down to my permit reservation spot in that lean-to in one day before dark. And I'm very comfortable hiking in the dark, but I'm not comfortable in those conditions. My sense was I could go for this. I would need to rest probably one more entire day, and I had the permits to do it. Even if I did make it to the top and back down, there would be a very good chance that I could have gotten stuck in whiteout conditions or in the night in some sketchy situation where I get minor frostbite, or something more serious could have happened. And so my sense was there's really no way for me to complete this hike without there being some element of just inherent deep recklessness to it. And I want to be the sort of hiker who takes calculated risks, but they're not the sort of the person who goes into a hike leaning on recklessness, if that makes sense. Like, I really couldn't respect myself internally, even if I succeeded, knowing going in that there's a deep element of recklessness to this attempt. So the next morning when I woke up, it was, the view out of my lean-to is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I think this is probably where I'll cut to the one slow-mo video I will inflict on you that I recorded over those next 48 hours. It's just a winter wonderland, and nobody but me on that side of the mountain. And as I sat there looking at that view, I knew there was no thought process. I just knew that I had to bail on this winter SoBo. The following morning, I hitched a ride from the Able Bridge parking lot with a firefighter named Ben. Thank you, Ben, for the ride. And it turned out, like, randomly, he was going all the way to Portland. And so my plan for that day was to hitch. And I was going to have to hitch to a bus station like 50 miles away and then take 2 buses to get to Portland. He was already driving all the way to Portland, Maine. So we just rode together for like, 3 or 4 hours. And another really cool part of it was he was basically the other hiker on the mountain that day trying to hike up. He hit the tree line. I think he made it just beyond the tree line on the Able Trail. Walking around this tree. Around the Able Trail. And he made the same call. He lost visibility, and he's not the type of, let's see this carefully. Wow. The reckless kind of, the reckless sort of hiker either. And so we were just kind of like dissecting our decisions for that day coming back. It was just really cool to have like a fellow real hiker out there to chat on the way back. So things started brightening up, I would say. So I spent a couple of days there in Portland, kind of replanning, literally researching northbound. I didn't even know like what city the Appalachian Trail starts in. So that's the first thing I Googled. Went to Boston the next night. And yeah, just hung out with a friend and met a couple of her friends, and that was really cool. And the next day I was in Atlanta and then on to the trail. And so this update is coming to you from not Maine, but actually from North Carolina. So that's kind of the full story. And I guess I'll call this week negative number 1, or maybe my shakeout hike for winter, because definitely a bit of gear has come out of my pack since then. But anyway, that's the story. The journey continues. The Triple Crown continues. The calendar year Triple Crown attempt continues. And that's how I got to Georgia. All right.